Oh, goody.
Alright, what's up everybody? Zombies here again, and today we're back with another Mercenaries video. In this one we're doing something a little bit different. So, we know quite a bit now about the upcoming Hearthstone expansion, but I wanted to talk a little bit about some of the new Mercenaries that we might be able to expect in the next Mercenaries drop, which should be coming with the mini set in patch 24.2. So we don't have the full set revealed as of the recording of this video, still missing some cards. I think they're going to all be revealed later on in the week, but I will be away on vacation during that time. So for now, I did a quick look through all the currently revealed cards, and I just wanted to showcase some of the characters I think will be showing up in Mercenaries in the big Mercenaries patch. As much like the last big one we got, not all the Mercenaries were dedicated to the Sunken City. There were actually a fair amount of them that were just other iconic characters throughout WoW and Hearthstone, but I think they're going to do, much like they did with that one, a handful of characters from the new expansion to tie it in. We saw in the Sunken City, they did that with 6 Nagas as kind of the main tie-ins. So I wanted to take a look at, from the cards we have so far, what might show up in Mercenaries. So we're going to get right on into it. Before we do, if you enjoy this type of content, do remember to like and subscribe. There's a ton to help out the channel and keeps the Mercenaries videos coming. Without further ado, let's dive right on into what Mercenaries I think we might be able to see in the upcoming Mercenaries drop that tie in with the new expansion. So the first one, this one just felt like it was kind of obvious. Murloc Holmes. So I think this actually is going to be our reward track mercenary to just give us a character that ties in right away. Quite a while ago, we got some information that a red Murloc is coming, as Murlocs have traditionally lacked a red unit in Mercenaries. And at first, I thought it was going to be Finley, but because we haven't got Finley by now, I think he might also be in the later on big Mercenaries drop instead, or maybe as another event. So I think Murloc Holmes actually makes a lot of sense to be our red Murloc, and he would fit very well with the Tavern Pass as the free mercenary. So that is our first mercenary on the list here. Next up is Kelthuzad. Another thing that makes me think some of these characters have decent odds of being featured in Mercenaries is these are characters that already have, at least in Kelthuzad's case, they already have existing multiple arts. And obviously in Mercenaries, there are 3 different portraits. So we have the new art from this card here, Kaelta the Inevitable, or Kelthuzad. I'm so used to saying Kale from just thinking about Kaelta, but no, Kelthuzad, who we're talking about right now. And I think it's just very likely we see KT in Mercenaries. He's a very iconic character, and I think it'd be pretty easy to make a very cool version of him for Mercs as a caster. Then next up, we have another iconic villain character in Renethol. This is another character we've seen multiple times. We have multiple art for him. Honestly, I would not be surprised if we eventually got the full League of Evil in Mercenaries. We already have Vosh, so it would make sense that given Renethol is in the current set, maybe we'll get him now, and then we'll get the others in Dr. Boom and King Wogtoggle later on down the line. It would be cool to see if they did similar stuff like the Explorers, but given we already have Vosh and she is much more about the Naga stuff, I doubt that is going to be the case, but we'll just have to wait and see. Then a really iconic one that I think very, very high chance of seeing this character in Mercenaries is Prince Renethol. So this was the card that they actually gave us for free about a month before the set, and it is just one of the coolest and most interesting cards I think they've ever put out in Hearthstone. And you can tell because so many different people are trying out these 40 card decks, and given just how iconic of a card it is and how much people seem to like it, I would not be surprised if they did go about making this a mercenary character. I'm not quite as versed on the lore of some of these characters myself, so I'm not really sure what kind of designs they would go for with him, but nonetheless, it would be still very cool to see him in Mercenaries, and obviously it would be very thematic with the expansion. Then, going along with that same theme, I don't think there's any way they could not have Sire Denathrius in this Mercenaries drop. I mean, he's the one the whole expansion is themed around his murder mystery. And even though I think his card here is a little bit underwhelming, traditionally, when we've seen cards, and this kind of applies to Murloc Holmes too, some of these cards that we've seen where they're a little bit underwhelming and constructed sometimes have a very strong Mercenaries counterpart. Cookie is probably the most glaring example of that, being a rather mediocre constructed card that didn't see play for a long time, now seeing a little bit of play, but the Mercenaries version was just a standout, very powerful character from day one. And we have one more character here. Last but not least, we have Kaelta. So this is Kaelta Sinstrider. It's kind of why I was getting my names mixed up before, but I think we'll probably just see the normal version of Kael'thas, Kael'thas Sunstrider. Could be this one too, but I think they're just going to use this basically as an alternate skin, kind of like they did in Battlegrounds. He is another character where it would not surprise me that we would get him because we have multiple arts for him already, so that kind of takes care of some of the work for it. And he's just a very, very iconic character. Would also be good for giving Arcane a little bit more support and whatnot. They did just get some in the Queen, and I think it would not be surprising to see him show up as well. I talked to Wizard Beast a little bit about this, and he knows a little bit more about the lore than me, and he thinks that Kael'thas would most likely involve the Fire and Arcane spell schools, so that could be really cool as a potential way to kind of merge those tribes together. So that is pretty much it for the characters from the currently revealed cards. There might be some more that come up as the more reveals happen and we see the entirety of the set. So definitely let me know in the comments below if there are any cards from the set that you think are likely to show up, or if you just have any ideas how some of these characters that I showcased in this video might be able to be made into some interesting mercenaries. But yeah, that is going to wrap it up for this one. If you enjoyed it, do remember to like and subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.